Hello, I'm continuing my reviews on the Alien franchise with Alien Resurrection, the fourth film in the Alien franchise. And reviewing the movie with me is this kid, Eric Casey, who is an acquaintance of mine who's been in a few of my reviews before. He's reviewed the Evil Dead movies with me and some other films with me.
Some of the Batman stuff, too.
Yes.
What's up?
Alright. So, Alien Resurrection is pretty much considered to be the black sheep of the Alien franchise, next to Alien 3, which a lot of people don't like.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I actually kinda like Alien Resurrection. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I personally like the film. But what do you think of it?
I kind of like it and kind of don't at the same time. It's really convoluted, in my opinion. Like, there's some elements that I really find interesting, which is why I like it. And then there's others where I'm just, like, asking the screen, why is this happening?
Alright.
Like, character motivations just don't make sense at times. Like, what's her name? The girl from Beetlejuice. Jumps around
Winona Ryder?
Yeah, she jumps around motivations. Even Ellen Ripley, Sigourney Weaver, jumps around motivations and stuff. Like, the character, just the movie's all over the place.
All right.
That's probably the best way I could describe it. And there's some stuff that I liked about it, and then there's other stuff that I'm like, what?
Okay.
You know?
I mean, I could definitely see your criticisms. I think part of why I like this one is a lot of it is nostalgia, because this wasn't the first Alien movie that I saw. The first one I saw was Aliens, but I did see this one when I was a little kid. I think this was the second one I saw.
Okay.
And I remember HBO used to play this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Back when the movie first came out.
That's how I saw it. I saw it on TV.
Yeah, and I just remember, like, my aunt and my dad would watch this on HBO when it was on, and I would watch it, and as a little kid, when you're a little kid, you like pretty much anything, and I'm not gonna lie, as a little kid, a lot of the stuff in this movie kind of creeped me out.
Yeah, which is why I probably think I honestly think I do put this one above Alien 3.
Yeah, I do like this one better than Alien 3.
3 to me is just completely forgettable. Like, I don't remember anything from that movie, and I've seen it. But the only scene that I remember kinda right is when Ripley's in the hospital, I think, and the alien shows up in her face and kind of does what the alien does in this movie, right? Am I right?
Yeah, like the scene in Alien 3 where the alien's up close to her face and it doesn't kill her,
and
which she
to be honest with you, the only reason why I remember that is because it's the only thumbnail I ever see on the trailers on the internet. That's, like, but other than that, Alien 3 to me is almost completely forgettable. I guess the ending, too, is a bit memorable.
Yeah,
but
my biggest problem with Alien 3 is I think it's a well-made movie. My biggest problem is the fact that they killed off the characters of Hicks and Newt really before the movie even began, which was kind of insulting to both those characters.
Yeah. Right.
Now, Alien Resurrection is written by Joss Whedon, who created shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and
the classic Firefly. Yeah.
And he also recently wrote and directed both Avengers movies. Now, you were mentioning when we were watching this movie that you felt like this movie really had the feel of a Firefly episode.
It's really interesting, some of the elements from this movie, and seeing a couple episodes from Firefly, and I was surprised, honestly, like, he kind of based, it seemed like to me that he based Firefly off of Resurrection. Like, the design of the ship is similar to this movie, basketball's in it, they play some kind of weird space version of basketball in Firefly. There's a lot of strange elements. And even the character, like the gunmen that come into the movie are kind of similar to the characters in Firefly, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
A little bit different, of course, but the design is still there. Like, I could see some of the influences or inspirations from it, you know?
Yeah. Now, the plot of Alien Resurrection is it's set 200 years after the events of Alien 3.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of Alien 3, Ripley found out that she somehow got impregnated with a baby alien queen.
Yep.
And at the end of that movie...
Spoilers.
Yeah, we're giving away a spoiler of what happened at the end of Alien 3, but at the end of that movie, the guy who you find out is the one who actually built the Bishop robot, who's part of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. He's trying to convince her to give them the alien.
Join forces with them and then the alien into
and then she kills herself at the end of that movie by throwing herself in, I think it was like molten lead. They never really explained what it was that she threw herself into.
She basically pulled a Terminator moment.
Yeah.
It was practically that.
Yeah, but this is set 200 years after the events of Alien 3, and it turns out that the military, they still want to use the xenomorphs as weapons, so they managed to clone Ripley, and they clone her with a baby queen alien inside her. They take it out.
The way they explain it is that the DNA of basically they're able to remake the DNA strand of Ripley and the alien being inside her, so they were able to kind of like recreate that through the DNA process or whatever.
Yeah, and it turns out that so Sigourney Weaver, she reprises her role as Ripley in this movie, but she's technically not Ripley, or at least not the same Ripley.
Yeah, she's a different version.
She's a clone, and she also has alien DNA inside her.
Yeah, so she has black fingernails, she can bleed acid, and she has super strength, and really good at basketball.
Yes, she plays really mean basketball, but which leads me to believe that the aliens are really good at basketball. The aliens must be really good at fucking basketball. But
if you ask me, she needs work on her jump shot, though.
Yeah, but long story short, they clone Ripley and they clone the alien queen, and this group of people end up on the ship because they're delivering this cargo, which, as it turns out, is people that these scientists want to use to impregnate with aliens and all that.
Spread the genes and stuff,
And long story short, things start going to hell pretty much, and
the pacing's ridiculously quick. That's again one of the convoluted things with this movie. Like at times it's a really slow drama. At times I felt.
I don't really agree with that.
But what I mean by like the movie just severely slows down at times for those like slow-mo, dramatic, emotional reaction shots that Joss Whedon throws in there here and there. But the pacing, it just goes all over the place. And once things start going hellwire, it's pretty. It's like The Flash. It happens so quick.
Yeah. Now, this movie has a pretty good cast, actually. You have Michael Wincott. You have Winona... Ron Perlman. Yeah, I'm fucking up right now. Winona Ryder, who plays a character named Cole, who actually knows a little bit about... Ripley in the beginning of the movie. I don't want to give too much away about her character.
But she's untrustworthy. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
She's very untrustworthy.
You're talking about Ripley, like what she thinks of Ripley. And you also have perhaps the best character in this movie. You have a scientist in this movie played by Brad Dourif. I'm a
also known as Chucky.
Yes, he also played the voice of Chucky in the Child's Play movies. He played Billy Bibbit in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I love Brad Dourif. Like, he's one of my favorite actors of all time, and I think he's a criminally underrated actor. And I also met him,
butterfly.
Too. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that scene.
He's a beautiful butterfly of an actor.
But no, every fucking scene that Brad Dourif was in this movie... it was just gold.
He just sprouts psycho.
Yeah, Brad Dourif, he's one of those actors who plays a psychopath like nobody's business.
It's like what he is on a Saturday. It's like he's not even acting.
You don't know that. You don't know him personally. I met him.
You know him better than I do.
Well, when I met him, I just said I loved him as Billy Bibbit in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He takes his glasses off and went, "Thank you." But yeah, Brad Dourif is amazing in this, and the acting in the movie I think is pretty good. I mean, Winona Ryder is alright in the movie, but I would say Ron Perlman is great in the movie, Michael Wincott is great, and Brad Dourif is great. Those are like the three best actors in this movie.
It's superly over the top. I wouldn't consider it good, but I would consider it entertaining. It's definitely entertaining acting, which I guess you can consider that as good acting. Take that how that is.
Yeah, the way I see this movie is, and part of why I give this movie a pass when so many other people hate it is, I look at it as just more of a B movie. While the first three Alien, even the third Alien movie, they very much were, they were definitely A-list movies. This movie, it's much more of a B movie. It's much more entertaining. While the first three movies were entertaining, they also had a lot more stuff to it than just being entertaining.
I got a question for you, because I've been thinking about this, and this is kind of my take on it. I kind of like this movie more than, like, let's just say Alien 3, for the same reasons why I like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom more than Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Okay.
Where, like, the Temple of Doom was just so weird and just batshit crazy and stuff like that.
Honestly, Temple of Doom was the first Indiana Jones movie I ever saw, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, for me, one of the reasons why I like Temple of Doom so much was that it was just so far, like, different compared to, like, the first Indiana Jones and the third one. It's kind of... People say that Temple of Doom, consider that as the black sheep of the Indiana Jones series.
Oh, at least until Crystal Skull came out.
Well, the reason why people hate Crystal Skull is because they felt like that movie was, like, completely forgettable and boring, which I can concede to that. I still like Crystal Skull personally, but some people like Temple of Doom more because it was just so memorable of how just batshit crazy it was.
Alright.
And that's kind of my reasoning for this movie. At least this movie has, even though it's just, like, again, so convoluted, it has a lot of memorable stuff that stick with you. And I feel like if a movie can do that, then it's worth, you know, giving it a watch, or it's worth a good recommendation, because it will stick with you.
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff that sticks with you in this movie, like the final sequence with the...
Well, I don't want to give away spoilers in this.
But yeah.
I mean, we already gave away spoilers for Alien 3, but that's because we kind of have to explain this.
This movie is a black sheep because of how I feel how different it is compared to the other Alien movies.
Oh, it's definitely different, but I actually think it has some really unique ideas.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene in the movie where Ripley walks into this room and there are all these failed attempts at alien or at Ripley clones, and they're like alien Ripley hybrids, and it's actually pretty creepy, some of the shit she sees.
It's not pretty creepy, it's creepy.
It's actually really shit your pants scary.
Oh yeah, it's one of those one of those moments, like, oh.
Yeah. And it also had some really interesting ideas. The idea that Ripley is part alien now, and the idea that the aliens are kind of part human. Like, in this movie, you could definitely tell the aliens have...
The aliens and Ripley are connected. There's some kind of link between them. It's obviously because of DNA, but there's that link between them, and, like, that's one of the reasons why Ripley's character is so different. Like, she's kind of like... She acts human at times, but there's other times when there's, like, this animalistic instinct that takes over her. Like, she can feel the aliens crawling through the space, and she's kind of, like, crawling around with it. Like, she was trying to, like, impersonate the aliens as part of her character this time around, which
and also it seems like in this movie the aliens actually seem to have some human emotions in this. Like the way they act, and also at the end of this movie they introduce a new type of alien creature which gets called the Newborn, which I thought was a really interesting character, the Newborn.
Yes, that's one of the things, like, there's stuff like that really keeps your interest, but the problem with the movie is that it doesn't explore those ideas at all, really. It just seems like they do it just for maybe convenience or just for a shock moment than actually exploring those ideas, which are the more interesting things, like I was talking about, how this movie's just like a completely different take on the Alien series.
Now, at the end of this movie, they kind of hinted at a sequel, because now there are two versions of this movie which are on the Alien Quadrilogy box set. The director's... Yeah, well, it's a quadrilogy. But the director's cut of this movie ends where they go to Earth, and you see that Earth is like a post-apocalyptic wasteland because this is like hundreds of years in the future. So at this point, I guess the whole idea is that mankind has depleted the planet of its resources.
Moved on from space to deplete other planets.
Yeah, so it kind of hints at a possible sequel set on this post-apocalyptic Earth. I would have really fucking loved that. I would love to see an Alien movie set in like a Mad Max style future.
I would prefer an Alien versus Predator in that setting.
Yeah,
I mean, we were talking about it before. I've been begging for like an Alien versus Predator versus Humans set in the post-apocalyptic future of Terminator.
Okay.
Just give me that setting with aliens and predators and humans. Done. There's your movie.
So, any closing thoughts on Alien Resurrection before we end this review?
Should I give it I guess I'd give it a recommendation. I would give it a interested recommendation, but you may hate it. You may hate it.
All right. I personally do like Alien Resurrection. I see its problems, but I still enjoy the film. I think it's an entertaining film, personally.
It's without question. You'll remember stuff.
Yeah, so I definitely like it better than its reputation. So I personally like Alien 3. He has whatever his opinion is.
It's hard for me to decide. It's just the inner critic in me, but I would be with you on that, where I like it more than what the people say.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our review on Alien Resurrection, and bye.